Previously on the Chronicles of One Life, we found ourselves moving our villagers into their brand new homes within the farming district. With the farming district and the crops then completed, we wanted to make a place for all of our animals, where we'd have our horses, donkeys, chickens, sheep, cows, all laid within our land. So with the horse stables done, the chicken coops built, and a little adventure to grab some cows, we eventually gave ourselves a stable for them all to live. But we were not completed there. We still had more to do. That's what brings us to today. Welcome to episode number 7, Sheeping Around. And here we are, back in the Chronicles of One Life, as Tree takes on his adventures and starts to continue to make the civilization a little bit more homely. So here we are. We are sheeping around today, as our episode title suggests, as we move on to making our sheep area. Now, what is a Minecraft world without sheep, you say? I mean, we all do it. I think everyone in the world, who plays Minecraft builds a sheep farm. So here we are. We're building the sheep farm. The sheep farm is obviously going to be for one of every different coloured sheep wool. Maybe not for now, but definitely as we grow into our Chronicles of One Life series, we will require more colours to make builds that are exuberant, that are going to catch your person's eyes to fly over the world. But for now though, we're just going to move some sheep, clear out land, and prepare to make ourselves a little barn. Now, with the barn in mind, there are two elements. We obviously want to make it have some automation and redstone, because one of the things I want to do in this world, or what I should be trying to teach myself, is redstone and automation and farms, because as a builder within the world of Minecraft, it's not a skill that I possess all that much. So what we want to do, Tree here, as you can see, is going to be doing the prettifying and the laying out of each of the different areas that the sheep will live. Now, within the sheep, they will have obviously shears and dispensers, which will allow us to then shear the wool off of the sheeps. And so this little structure is going to be keeping the same in mind, with acacia as our main sort of outer block palette, with our deep slate trim on the roof with acacia and sandstone roof, with smaller details also using acacia. So this little barn will be one of the staples of the middle of the build here, and actually one of our biggest builds to date so far. Now, with every build, it does take time. I am trying not to rush this world. At this point, we are coming up on about 500 days. We are about halfway at this point in obviously the series. And what episode 7, obviously, we're now, is just going to be a sort of slow, I say, storytelling of our world, as you can tell so far, and how I'm growing into the world and creating myself this sort of one life scenario. As it is hardcore, we may die at any point and lose everything. But throughout the journey, we want to make sure that we push ourselves to learn new things about the world of Minecraft, particularly redstone, farm, and automation. But amongst other things, there are other adventures that we're going to have in future seasons. If we can survive to day 1000, we will then complete season 1. So we are at this point around halfway. Now, with being halfway in a world, there's lots more to achieve, and we'll discuss that as the world progresses. But here we are, just putting in the sheep just one at a time, and although it's a slow and laborious challenge to get them all in place, it is one that obviously we will certainly look back on and praise ourselves for doing it, because the colours will play a large part in what we want to achieve in this world, by creating builds that push us to be better builders, learn about new techniques, colours, gradients, textures, and learn from ourselves and make something that we can call our own. And with Minecraft, there's always something to learn. I believe that as we've went through this world, I have already become and identified new techniques of building, different ways of working. And this is something that will, for every world that we create, in every area, every biome, every structure that we create, we always want to push ourselves to do something different. So as we said earlier, this is only season 1. It is the beginning. It is the first 1000 days. What does the next 1000 days look like? What do the 1000 days after that look like? And the next, and the next. The world will continue to grow with us, not just as a Minecraft player, but as a person, as a community. As always, I do look at the comments across social media, YouTube, Twitch, and across the many different areas I can collaborate with everybody within my community. And if there's things that we want to see, discuss, do, I'm not just alone. I'm not just by myself. We have the world of the internet and myself around me, my family, my friends, to support us in this world. It isn't just a lone one-person journey, which it may seem like. A lot of the ideas that we have here have stemmed from my initial concepts, ideas that I had for a world, things that I wanted to build. But for anything in the world, we want to keep striving to be better and improve ourselves. So with the roof now going on at the top of our barn, this is where our sheep will live for the remainder of our season, and there won't be really a requirement to make any more sheep pens. But in the future, we will be wanting to add more animals and more automation and more farms. We'll move on to doing our pigs. We'll move on to doing more villagers. Armadillos potentially. There's animals within this world that do provide value to us as players, and we will continue to explore the opportunities that Minecraft gives us. But with the shed for all of our sheep now firmly in place, it stands tall amongst the centre area of our starter base. But it wouldn't be long before this build is complete. Then we can call it complete, we can call it finished, and ready to be used within our world. So what do we think? Where will the world go? What ideas do you have? What things do you want to see me add in? The comments are all yours. Let's see what you want me to add in future seasons, as Season 2 is already being planned and in the works. Let's turn our focus to completing this build. We had one final area to add on, so with the sheep now all in place, we wanted to create some additional storage just off to the southern side of the build here. This will provide us with just a few more chests, a few more barrels, and an area for us to put our sheep spare resources somewhere that we don't lose them. We have had to periodically check it as we have been building, as all the colours have been making themselves a little bit taking up storage, and we want to make sure that we have space to then take things out later on down the line. That's it. That's our sheep. Now all complete, all in place, not just for now, but for the rest of our first season. Now with a little extra sort of work on the side, we do continue to do what we did with the others. The cows, the chicken and the horses, give them their own area for them to walk around in, and for put extra additional animals as the world grows. As you know, down the line there's future updates that bring in baby mobs into our world, which we will have to consider of how they're going to live in a world with more tiny little sheep. There is now our sheep barn, the next big project completed within our Minecraft hardcore world in the Chronicles series. And we never just stopped there. The final animal that we wanted to add into our world was pigs. Now with the recent updates to Minecraft, there is two brand new pigs, making us a total of 3 different variants to gather. We've got the warm and cold variants we can bring into the world, and the normal traditional pig. Meaning that within our stable area, what I would like to do for the pigs and the pigsty is to try and gather each of the 3 different pig types. As we're already in a warm biome, we already have the warm pigs, and they have spawned with us naturally in this area. So let's just go and create 3 little pens for, and planning at least, the 3 different pigs that we wanted to go for. And it wouldn't be a hardcore series, or at least my Chronicle series, without a little bit of adventure thrown in now and again. Yes, I enjoy staying at my base and keeping safe and staying out of trouble, but at the same time I do enjoy the thrill of going out and exploring the world. So as we explored through the world, we had to go gather and find the different biomes with the various amounts of different pigs. And where could we find those? Well, in the north, we have a frozen area and a frozen tundra. Here we could find the cold pigs. And it just so happened that on the way back, we passed through a plains biome and came across some of the normal pigs as well. So it was very fortunate that on our journey we passed through both of the biomes that we required to find the pigs and to bring them back to our base. And it was actually in the end a very straightforward task for us to get each of the different variants. And as we grow into this hardcore series, that is one thing you're going to find. I want to be a completionist. I want to get one of everything in the game. Now we're starting off with the animals. We're starting off with pigs. We've got one of every sheep. We nearly have one of every cow, if you remember. What else can we get variants of in the future? Well, that's going to be part of the excitement of where we build into the world. But that is now us completing all of the different early game animals that we can likely find in a Minecraft world. There may be more in the future, but we'll need to keep an eye on the episodes to see what happens next on our Chronicles adventures for all of our variants and animals and mobs. So, half of our build is complete. We're moving on now to the next half of our circle. For those that have watched previous episodes, you'll know we're building it in a large circle, providing each district with different areas, from crops to then farm animals, and now onto one of the biggest challenges. We're going to be moving and creating an area for every villager type in Minecraft. Now, with the caveat here that we're only going to be creating villages and villagers for each of the early games that we want. With a little bit of distraction thrown in with these goddamn pillagers. But we'll see them off as quickly as we can get here, and we managed to stay alive without popping any totems or any death. So that is always great in our adventures. But as we were saying, we want to now create one of each of our villagers that we have in the world so far and give them their own home. Now, I don't have them all, but we have some of the main culprits. We have our librarians, we've got our weaponsmiths, our armourers, our cartographers, to name but a few. And there will be more as we go along, as we move them in. I'll let you know what we're doing. But we had to do a very large terraforming job here to make it work. And with the orange pillars, you can see where 3, or at least now 4, of the different homes are going to be built along the way. So it was very important within our episode today to continue to prepare our land for what would be the next areas of development. And for you guys watching, you can now see what we're going to be working on next in future episodes. So with the terraforming, it took us a little bit of time to get it going and to find the pathways, the routes, and the mapping of the area to our pleasure. As you can see with all the orange wool now, we have our homes, we have our locations, everything now in place. And I cannot wait to see where this world's going to go. I thoroughly look forward to what's next. I don't look forward to the threats that leave us on the edge of our seats, but the design, the concepts, the ideas, and the thrill of adventure has got me excited for where this world goes. Here we are, halfway done on our starter base, another half to go, and I look forward to sharing it with you all in the next episode. Next time on the Chronicles of One Life, we adventure back into the end dimension for the sole purpose of gathering more shulker shells to improve our storage and transporting of materials. And as you saw in today's episode, we are going to continue off with terraforming, building our villagers' houses and giving them a place to live. The world is now starting to become alive, and we're filling it with everything we need to survive for the future in this world.